What is up, everybody? My name is Colin, and today I am going to talk to you about how I was able to work with one of the biggest musicians, one of the biggest entertainers, one of the biggest country musicians that is taking over the music world right now, and that is Morgan Wallen. So I want to tell you how I was able to work and get paid to take pictures of Morgan at one of his biggest shows to date. So, you may be asking yourself, how was I able to get this massive opportunity to work with Morgan Wallen and take pictures at his then largest show he has ever done to date? When I got to the stadium, I was working for Jake Worthington that day. So we went early, of course, for load in, sound check. I'm taking pictures. I have my camera with me. I'm taking videos, documenting the entire day for Jake. When we're backstage, I have my camera with me, and David Lair, who is Morgan Wallen's tour photographer, comes up to me and he sees me and asks, "Hey, do you want to shoot Morgan's set tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, obviously." And so he was like, "Cool. Yeah, just kind of do your thing. Just obviously don't go on stage, but anywhere else is totally cool." And so that was kind of how that came to be. Globe Life Field is home to the Texas Rangers. It can host thousands of people just for a ball game. And then when you have a concert there and you take away the actual field aspect and you make that the pit and the floor seats, there's thousands of more people that can fit into that stadium. So you think about a photographer. When you are working a show, generally there's different angles that you need to cover for pictures and videos. David was working the stage, he was working the pit, so he was not able to get to all these different areas to capture exactly what was going on and how massive of a scale this show really was. So again, he asked me, and I kind of took that upon myself to think about the angles that he wasn't getting. Again, he's going to be on stage, he was going to be down in the pit, he was going to get everything that Morgan was seeing out to the crowd, but there was really no one that was able to capture what the crowd was seeing and what Morgan can't really see himself. And that's looking from the 300 level section, or that's from different areas of the stadium that, again, the entertainer can't really truly see because they're on stage. So again, I wasn't really given any true scope, any true direction, but that was kind of my thought process. I wanted to capture the environment. I wanted to capture the energy of the crowd. I wanted to be able to capture all these angles, which couldn't have been captured by David because he obviously was preoccupied getting the shots that he wanted to get. So that was my thought process for when I was working the crowd. Fast forward to the end of the show. I get with David. I show him my pictures and I show him what I think to be the shot. And I've got maybe 2 or 3 of those. If you are a photographer, you kind of know what I'm talking about when you have this shot. It's the pictures that you think are the ones out of the hundreds of pictures that you've taken, the 1, the 2, maybe 3 pictures that are just the ones out of that set. The energy, the lighting, everything was incredible. So I had some incredible pictures to send to David. David goes, "Hey, can you send these to me as soon as possible? We want to get these pictures out for press releases because they're going to write articles and whatnot talking about Morgan Wallen's biggest show and so on and so forth." So it's about midnight by this time, and then I rush home, but I still have another hour drive back to my house. From there, I start to edit the pictures, and I pick about 16 or 17 of those that are the best ones of the sets once I get it on my computer. I get them done up, I send them over to David, and it's about 2 a.m. by this time where I finally do get him all the pictures that I have edited from that night. The next day, David sends me a link to an article which talks about Morgan's show and, just talks about how big it was and, how it was history for him and whatnot. And they used some of the pictures that I had sent to David the night before, which was awesome. I really didn't expect anything of it. I didn't expect them to be used. I just sent them off and hoped for the best. But then a couple days later, Morgan also posted an Instagram post and some other social media posts about it. And about half the pictures that he posted in his set were pictures that I took, which was awesome. That's definitely been, I think, one of the biggest accomplishments that I've had so far as a photographer because, one of the biggest artists that there is right now takes your pictures, posts them online, and they, obviously like them enough to share them with the world, to have hundreds of thousands of people see your art, see your pictures, and be able to, look at that and you're like, I did that. Like I took those. That was one of the most, gratifying things. It just is, it just, can't really describe it. But when I saw that he posted those pictures, I was like, man, that's just so cool. To kind of wrap this all up, I just want to kind of talk about how you can also do what I did and work with some of these huge artists. I'm a freelance photographer and videographer. I'm not working for a major record label. I'm not, super connected with these huge artists. I was just kind of at the right place at the right time. And really, what that boils down to is just being around. What does being around really mean, though? It just means, to me, working as much as you can, being around as many people as you can, and meeting as many people as you can, because you never know what one person might be able to allow you to do, what they can give you, what opportunities they may hold. But if you're not around, you truly don't know. The guy that I came there with, Jake Worthington, was who I was working for that day. But the guy that I also ended up working for was the headliner and also one of the biggest musicians right now and of all time, Morgan Wallen. And by being around, being present, working, being professional, I was asked to shoot and document that night. That doesn't happen if you're not around. This isn't some WikiHow step-by-step tutorial on how to work with A-list superstars. This was just my experience. Just a normal guy who's a freelance photographer who does this as a side hustle. It's not even my full-time job. But by being in these situations and by working around these people, I was able to open up one door that I truly didn't know was possible, but I learned that being in these environments and working around these people that can open those doors for you and help you level up is incredibly important. A great tip and a great piece of advice that I learned from a podcast that I listened to called Black with No Cream is to say yes until you can say no. What that means is you never know who you can work with, be around, if you say no. Jake was the first act on this concert ticket that had four other performers. Jake has a great following. He makes great music. And just because he's not the headlining act, if I didn't work with him and take pictures and be around, then this whole opportunity would have never came to. Get out and just work and be around people and meet people. Networking is huge, especially in the music industry. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, is to just continue to work around all these different people as much as you can, so that way you can gain exposure and they know who you are. Until next time, I hope that this helps, and I hope that you can take this information and hopefully level up yourself.